my name is Ayaka. Today I'm going to talk about the program on gender differences. Human sexual differences are discussed in the terms of two aspects, sex and gender. Gender refers to sex as a social and cultural roles as opposed to the biological sex. Gender includes not only the roles expected by being male or female, but also the differences in opportunities based on gender and the relationships between men and women. There are many gender-based prejudices and inequality in the world today. There are various cultural, historical, and social gender differences in the society in which we live. Many people are still forced into the unwanted behavior by the stereotypes that have been created by culture and history. My proposal for this program is gender equality should be guaranteed on every occasion by the law or policies. My hypothesis would be following. If the gender difference continues existing, this will affect people's behavior, study choices, ambitions, and attitudes about relationships. Gender inequality is going to rob people of opportunities in various aspects of their lives. The stereotype of gender difference can be broken down by giving the same opportunity to every single person and treating everyone in the same way. When gender equality becomes fully guaranteed, a better society will be developed. Next, I will talk about the supporting evidence. First of all, gender inequality is existing at home. According to Harvard Business Review, even though women outnumber men in the paid labor field, women are estimated to undertake nearly twice as much domestic work and childcare as their male counterparts. Since the pandemic has started, many schools and daycare centers closed, and it has created a scarcity of childcare. The places where parents can send their children have decreased, and mothers needed to take care of them at home. According to the Center for Aerospace and Security Studies, there are 774 million people who are not educated well, and 2/3 of them are females. It means that many girls in the world are not going to school. One main reason for this problem happening is because of their gender. Poor families tend to send boys to school, preferentially when they invest in education. Therefore, girls in poor families are least likely to complete their primary school. Justin Haley in the book mentioned, although Australia has made great progress towards gender equality, women are still suffering with earning less salary than men do and are less likely to pursue a further career as much as men. Gender equality is achieved when people can access the same rewards, resources, and opportunities regardless of whether they are men or women. In Australia, there is still a gap between men and women in the workplace and the opportunities that they can obtain. Since the percentage of women having bachelor's degree is getting higher than that in the past, women should get the same opportunities and rewards as men more often. However, the current situation in the workforce is not as good as it should be. According to OECD, less than half of Mexican women of working age participate in the labor market in Mexico. 60% of women who work have informal jobs with low social protection, high insecurity, and low pay. The main reason for this is that women don't get paid well, or in many workplaces, they don't pay them at all, but the work burden is still too heavy for women. This prevents women from working in the labor market. Women in Mexico are suffering from finding paid jobs. 33% of young women are not in employment, education, or training, as known as NEET. And this means Mexican women are 4 times more likely than men to be an EET. Sexual harassment occurs because of gender differences. According to Biomed Central, 49 to 68% of all medical students have experienced either gender discrimination or sexual harassment during medical school. In addition to that, female students get more affected than male students. Sexual harassment is a manifestation of power relations. Women are more likely to be the victims of sexual harassment because they are likely to be physically weaker than men. Next, I will talk about the survey result and analysis. An online survey about gender differences and inequality was conducted to observe how people think about this problem. This survey included 22 questions on various topics related to gender differences. This survey was sent to 35 university students, and 27 of them answered it, which was 77.1% of response rate. This survey aims to help understand how gender difference is considered by people with different gender, ages, and nationalities, and how it affects people's life. This survey aims to help understand how gender difference is considered by people with different gender, ages, and nationalities, and how it affects people's life. As you can see in figure 3, 81% of respondents strongly agree that men and women should be equal. Since this survey was sent to only college students, most of the respondents are the age of between 19 and 25, but at least this age range of people think that men and women should be equal. While young people are more likely to think that everyone should be treated equally, people the age of 40s or more still might have the stereotype that men should be treated better and with respect. Thus, this creates problems about gender differences and inequality. On the other hand, it indicates that the next generation, like us, will find a solution to this problem, and one day all people will be treated in the same way they should, regardless of their gender. Figure 4 illustrates the people's perspective about their rights in their country. It shows that 26% of respondents strongly agree that men and women have the same right in their country. 26% of them somewhat agree about it, 33% of them somewhat disagree, and 50% of them strongly disagree. As you can see from the result, people have different opinions about whether men and women have the same rights in their country. The respondents are from Mexico, Japan, India, Korea, and so on. Considering this diversity of nationalities, the idea, which is having the same rights between men and women depending on each country, can be found. As shown in figure 5, 7% of respondents have experienced sexual harassment, 22% of them have had it twice, and 50% of them have had it more than 3 times. As you can see, more than half of the respondents answered that they have been sexually harassed in some way. Women are more likely to be a victim of sexual harassment since they are physically and mentally weaker than men. Also, because a lot of times men tend to be treated in a better way and be in a higher position than women, this increases the chance that women get involved in sexual harassment as a victim. As you can see from the result, gender differences have been the cause of sexual harassment. In Figure 6, 93% of respondents either strongly or somewhat agree that there is gender equality in their home. However, in Figure 7, 81% of respondents strongly disagree that women should do all the house chores, and 19% of them somewhat disagree with this. Even though over 90% of people think that there is gender equality at home, there is a fact that some people are thinking that women should do all the house chores. Before seeing this data in this survey, I was expecting that more people would strongly disagree that only women should do all the house chores, but then I found that some people still think that the house chores are the work for women since 19% of them somewhat disagree to this question. Throughout this survey, we have seen gender differences and inequality on the daily basis in education and the workplace. We found that women typically do more house chores and take care of children than men do at home. There is also gender inequality at school and in education, which men and women are supposed to have the same opportunities. It is obvious that women have fewer opportunities in the workplace, and there is a gap in the amount of salary between men and women. It was also found that there are problems of sexual harassment created by gender differences. Furthermore, in Mexico, only less than half of women are participating in the labor market. The majority of women in Mexico don't have formal jobs, and many of them are working in terrible conditions. They also have difficulties finding paid jobs. Not only in Mexico, but also a lot of developing countries, gender differences have been seen remarkably. Gender differences and inequality have been discussed in many places for a long time, and a lot of people in the world are still suffering from this problem. As shown in the study, the problem of gender differences and inequality have been existing for a long time, and it will continue to be one of the hardest problems to solve in many countries in the world. Based on the study and survey result, there are some suggestions and recommendations that can be implemented to solve this problem. One of the recommendations is that government or companies develop policies to make sure men and women are treated equally. The policies should be developed with the concept of the same opportunities for both women and men and the same treatment for both. If the policies are developed, everyone will need to follow these, and that will reduce the problem of gender differences. Another recommendation would be spreading the idea of gender equality. Even though this topic has been discussed in a lot of places, there is still a lack of information about this problem, especially for older people who are used to the idea of men should be treated with respect. Also, in developing countries, gender differences can be seen very often. It's important that every single people aware that men and women should have the same rights, opportunities, and rewards, and this will make our society a better place to live for everyone. Also, here are the references that I used in APA format. Thank you for listening.